Alright everyone, welcome back. This is wxninjaa. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Please like and subscribe for more. If you subscribe, click the bell icon. You'll get the latest update as I post them. This one's going to be as of 8:30 Eastern Time. So there it is, Dorian right there. Looks like it's just headed mainly west now. We did see that little southern jog. Now it's going back to the west. So we'll keep on this path. We'll see. We'll hope it keeps on this path and stays away from Florida. But we'll see. As you see the outer rain bands, they're definitely starting to impact Florida right now. So that's something to watch. One other thing I wanted to mention here is some new. We got a hurricane warning now up for the east coast of Florida. We got some watches and a tropical storm warning as well as tropical storm watch for the inland areas. Just with like we thought, with that little bit further southern track there. It dipping down south just a little bit the last couple hours. It is going to put it more west most likely, so that's why they're going ahead and issuing the hurricane warnings, watches, tropical storm warnings, tropical storm watches, because these outer bands, they're going to get in there. So that's something to watch. Another thing is further up the coast into the Carolinas, they are issuing evacuation orders starting tomorrow, I believe in one of the counties up there, and they're evacuating about I believe it was over 800,000 people in South Carolina are now under evacuation order starting tomorrow morning. They're going to do contraflow on the lanes. Basically what that means is all the lanes of the freeway will be heading away from areas like Charleston and whatnot, all the areas on the coast. So you will not be able to head on the freeway east toward the coast. So if you live in that area, be aware of that and basically just evacuate. A couple other things to note is I'm going to link in the description, but if you do want to help out, you can donate it through Red Cross. I'll link that in the description here. And I'll post some information about Florida, floridadisaster.org, so you know your evacuation zones or ABC. There are zones under evacuation orders right now. I believe the A and B zones are under evacuation orders. Dorian did make that second landfall in Marsh Harbor down there in the Bahamas. So it is very, very powerful Cat 5 hurricane. Let's get in the latest of it. 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 185. That's sustained winds, gusts probably over 200 miles an hour. 915 millibars. West at 5 miles an hour. But if you read over here, let me find it. As of 00 UTC at 915 millibar with maximum sustained wind about 185. Still moving west at 5. So as of 3 hours ago, west at 5, it was 910 millibars. Just like I thought, as it went over that land, let's take a look here. Let me get you a better one. Right here, as it goes over this land over here, that's what weakened it a little bit and brought it up 5 millibars, but really didn't slow it down as far as mile per hour on the wind. Still 185. Now it's over the open water. I wouldn't be surprised to see if it ticked up a little bit and then millibars went back down to 910. Maybe even gets to 190 miles an hour. As it comes in here to this area, let's zoom in a little bit. Freetown and Freeport. This is over in the Bahamas, of course, and just a bad situation. We saw the tornado warning there pop up when it was animated. It's going to take a second here to reload, but we saw it. Excuse me, in the southwest quadrant. One of these cells. Let's see if we can see which one it is. Yeah, this one right there popped up on the left. So you can see it's right in that eye wall, right there. Just really, really strong, really, really intense. But if you look at this thing, I mean, it's moving very, very slow. And so even though Marsh Harbor got that landfall, I mean, look at them. They're still getting hammered with the rain and the winds. And now when the wind hit them, it hit them like this, more from the north. As the hurricane went over, it started to change. Now the water's coming in, from a more southwesterly direction like this, southwesterly direction over to the northeast. So now this side of the island is getting hit hard, and there's got to be tons of bays and stuff in here that are they're flooded, they're underwater, I'm sure, as well as all the water that was piled up here is now shooting back off to the northeast, because that's what happens in these things. A couple other things I wanted to note is that this hurricane it made 2 landfalls in the Abaco Islands on Sunday, which is today. News reports of widespread damage on those islands, and the Prime Minister pleaded with people on Grand Bahama to leave high-risk areas. There's some more photos down here. We'll just take a quick look, and you can just see the destruction. There's some waves. Sea wall right there. Water's starting to come over that sea wall, or already has. That's why there's all that sand on the road. Lots of trees down, branches. There'll be pictures way worse than this, I'm sure. But you can see right here, I mean, this is literally, you're living on the water, basically. So that house, I mean, it could have got destroyed. There's people sleeping and just cars overturned, just bad damage, which is what you expect when you get something like this coming through. I mean, it's a horrible situation. Now, I was trying to look at this thing and see, is it still going south? Maybe slight. But that eye wall is just wobbling in there, so that's probably what it is. It's probably not actually moving south. It's probably still moving straight west. You can see these winds right here in Baintown. Watch them kind of shift just a little bit. Shift a little bit more. As these bands wrap around, you can see all these heavy thunderstorms from these outer bands. Let's zoom out a little bit here. You can see them start to come in. They're getting closer and closer with every frame they're getting closer to Florida. And this isn't the outer bands of the actual hurricane. I mean, it kind of is in a way, but it's not the outer bands of the core of the storm is what I should say. So if these do come on shore here, anywhere in here, if you live along the east coast of Florida, you need to evacuate. You need to get the heck out of there. Don't try to ride this storm out. Every hurricane is different, but if your area is flooded, it's going to flood again, most likely. Even if you don't get a lot of rain, just with that storm surge. I mean, these coastal towns right now are getting inundated with storm, with the wind, which is going to bring that water in. It may not be flooding now, but as time goes on, you know, you're already receiving heavy downpours in some areas that could already make you flood. Then you get the storm surge in there. It could be a bad situation. So here it is on the satellite. As we go into the night, you can see that eye better. And you can see how it made that southerly jog there. Just a little bit. So here are these outer bands right here. You can kind of see them coming into Florida, and this thing is going to get dangerously close to Florida. So if you're in that area, I hope you get out. Here's that overview again of where the hurricane is, and like I said last time, this area is probably not going to do this. This one probably won't do much, but this one, you know, in a week and a half, 7 to 10 days, it could be over here doing the same thing again. So so hurricane warning for Florida. Bahama blasted with 220-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That's like, you know, a very strong tornado going through there. So Dorian is the 35th Category 5 hurricane on record in the Atlantic. So that tells you right there, it's very rare to get one of these. Most Category 5 Atlantic hurricanes have occurred in August and September, just prime time for hurricane season is right now, pretty much. So last couple weeks of August, first couple weeks of September, that's when you're going to see these things. 4 Atlantic hurricanes have made landfall in the continental U.S. as Category 5. So it's not often that they do, you know, a seventh of them make landfall. So not all of them do, which is obviously really good. But man, if this thing gets close enough, it's obviously this is when it first became a Cat 5, that picture, but dangerous situation. Here you go with the warnings and watches and all that again. So if you live in this area, you know, up the coast in Georgia, coastal Georgia, even inland a little ways, looking at the Carolinas, just leave. You know, you got 48 hours, maybe a little longer before it gets up into the Carolinas, but you need to just make a plan to leave. Schools are closed there in the Charleston area till further notice, so you don't have to worry about that. So this is just a bad situation. I mean, look at that thing. It's well organized. It's rocking and rolling. You can see on the southern side, it's got really intense thunderstorms. Kind of on this northwestern edge right here. I suspect as it gets closer into better view of the radar, this over here somewhere, probably Fort Lauderdale or wherever. There's probably tons of them in here. We'll get a better look at those cloud tops, and we'll see darker colors on this eastern edge. But like I say, this thing, I mean, you can look at it. If it skirts these islands, it's going to stay over water even longer and get even stronger. Again, with that track, they are thinking it is going to come just right across Freetown here. Yeah, and be right here by tomorrow. So that's tomorrow night, I should say. That's still over 24 hours away. That's Eastern time. Yeah, so that's about 26, 27 hours away. Yeah, just a dangerous situation. Not really much else to say. Again, I will link those things in the description for you for the Red Cross if you want to help or you want to donate. You can go to their website. You can text, different things like that. So I'll put that in the description. I will also put the floridadisaster.org in the description, so you can go there, check your evacuation zones, figure out what zone you're in, understand if you're evacuating or not, if you need to. But as you can see, it's tropical storm watch. I mean, that's almost all the way across Florida there. So that's a large area. There's a ton of people that live in here, very, very populated. They just need to get out of the way. Unfortunately, this is not something you want to mess with. We'll see in the next couple hours. We'll just keep watching this thing, and we'll see, is this going to stick on this track? Is it going to start to make that northward turn? If not, the further west it gets, the more and more dangerous it gets for these areas, and all the eastern seaboard there, from Florida up into the Carolinas. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I can do a little Q&A as well. If you live along here, maybe you have some questions or whatnot, or you're just curious. Just leave a like, subscribe. Like I said, if you subscribe and click the bell icon, that will get you email notifications as soon as I post a video with the latest information. So stay safe, everyone. Appreciate you stopping by. Have a good one.